Hello everyone and welcome back to the Cupcake Jemma channel with me, Gemma. Thank you all very much for being here. Now I've got something really special to show you and it all started with a mistake. So a few weeks ago I was testing recipes for butterscotch, traditionally made with light brown sugar, and I thought, I wonder what will happen if I make it with Muscovado, that deeply molassesy sugar. So I started making it and then I kind of forgot about it on the hob and I cooked it for too long, and so I was like, oh no, well this isn't the one, is it? So I put it into a container and just kind of forgot about it for the day, and when I came back to it later during the cleanup I thought, I'll just taste it just to see what it's like, and it was really delicious, like really delicious, and it had this really great texture, like a little bit like soft, a little bit bitey, not oozy, and I thought this is the perfect thing for a Millionaires shortbread. But you guys don't need another recipe for Millionaires shortbread. They've been around for donkey's years. And thus, the Millionaires shortbread brownie was born. So this is gonna be a delicious fudgy chocolate brownie, really lovely and rich, and then a topping of that accidental toffee, and then on top of that some lovely chocolate topping, and just for nostalgia and a nod to the old school, a little round of buttery shortbread on top. What's not to like? So obviously we're going to start with the chocolate brownie, and this is our classic CRUMBS and DOILIES brownie base. So I've already melted my chocolate and butter together. That's in this bowl, and you need 165 grams of each of those, melted together either over a bain-marie gently, just stirring every now and then to combine it, or in a microwave in 30-second blasts, again stirring, and then just leave it to cool because you don't want it to be too hot because we'll add it to the eggs and we don't want to scramble those eggs. Speaking of eggs, I've got 3 of those, so I'm going to crack those straight into my bowl. Then add 330 grams of caster sugar and pop your balloon whisk attachment on, and then get it going, starting slow and then increasing it to quite a high speed. You're going to whip these up for about 3 minutes. And they are looking perfect. They've basically doubled, maybe even tripled in volume. They've gone really nice and pale. So you don't want to under whip it because the sugar won't be dissolved enough and it won't get that nice like crispy papery top that you get on the brownie. Anyway, it's now time to take your melted chocolate mixture, which is now a bit cool but still liquid. So just pour that in, along with 1 teaspoon of good quality vanilla extract. And then get that going on a slow speed this time. You want to gently fold it through with your whisk. While that's going round, you can sift your dry ingredients together. So I've got 135 grams of plain flour, and I'm going to add 45 grams of good quality cocoa powder and half a teaspoon of salt and half a teaspoon of baking powder. Just shuffle that through the sieve and then it's ready to add. So just add your dry ingredients while the whisk is still going around nice and slowly, just to fold those through. And that's pretty well mixed, but there is always a little bit in the mixer that doesn't quite make it in. So I like to always finish it by hand, either with a spatula, or sometimes I just like to use the whisk itself, just to scrape the sides down, scrape the bowl, and just make sure all those little nuggets of dry ingredients are in there. And that's looking pretty good. And you should end up with this lovely, like, rich, dark brown batter. It's quite thick, but not stiff. And now I've got an 8-inch tin. I've already, oh, where's my cloth? I've got a chocolatey hand. I've already lined it and, well, greased it and lined it on the bottom and the sides. So it's really important to do the sides here because we're going to build this up and we want to make sure none of it gets stuck to it at any point. So here it is, and as you can see, oh, it's like Charlie in the Chocolate Factory. Every time I pour it in, it's absolutely delicious looking. Whoa. So it's quite a stiff batter, so you'll probably need to level it out with a palette knife just to make sure it bakes nice and evenly. And now it is time to bake it. So I've got my oven preheated to 170 degrees C. It's a fan-assisted oven. I'm going to put it in and start with 28 minutes on my timer. I'll check it at 28 with a skewer. You want to aim for a skewer to come out not quite clean if you want that nice fudgy texture, but if you like a cakier brownie, weird, just do it for a little bit longer. Now, as usual with a brownie, once it's baked and cooled, you want to put it into the fridge to chill completely. That way you get that lovely fudgy texture. So this has been chilling out for a few hours and it's nice and cold. So we can get on with making the accidental toffee layer. Now, what I love about this, I don't even know what it's called. I'm calling it accidental toffee. Is it's just like soft and nice bitey, but it doesn't ooze everywhere once you cut it, which makes it perfect for things like this because when you portion them out and then leave them for like an hour or so, what you don't want is for the filling to just be like, whoa. So this is great. So we're going to start by melting the Muscovado sugar and the butter together. So I've got 150 grams of each of those. Pop them into a saucepan and make sure it's a big enough saucepan that can take a bit of bubbling. And then the Muscovado as well. And you can do this with dark brown sugar, but it just doesn't have that really, really molassesy flavour that I just love so much. And you want to set that over a sort of low-medium heat and just let it melt together at first, and then get your spatula in there and start to give it a stir. And stir it every now and then. What you're looking for is for the grains of sugar to be mostly dissolved, if not completely dissolved. Once that's ready, you can add the cream. So I've got 400 grams of double cream. I'm going to add that slowly, a little bit at a time, just giving it a really good stir after each little bit. And then when all the cream's in, you can add a teaspoon of vanilla extract and a quarter of a teaspoon of salt, and just mix that in together before putting it back onto a low heat. At this point, you can put a thermometer in there, like a sugar thermometer or even just a probe thermometer, and just let that bubble away. It'll take about anywhere between 10 and 20 minutes, depending on how hot you've got it. And you want to get it to 105 degrees, and that is going to let you have this lovely, bitey, slightly chewy texture. What you might find when you make this yourself is that when it gets to the right temperature, especially if it's been a little bit hot, the butter can kind of split out. Do not panic if that happens. Grab a whisk and just whisk it all back in together. I promise you it will come out good. And then once it's all in one nice smooth mixture, you can pour it directly over the top of your cooled, chilled brownie. Here we go. And just give it a little bit of a shuffle around with the palette knife just to make sure it's nice and even, and then it needs to cool because it's obviously pretty hot. So once it's cool, room temperature, whack it into the fridge to chill down completely. I'm back, guys, and my brownie with its accidental toffee topping is all cold and ready to be finished off. So normally with a Millionaires shortbread, you just put like melted chocolate and then it would solidify, and that's great. But it makes it really difficult to cut because once the chocolate is solid, it can crack when your knife goes through it. So I wanted to do something which has a little bit more give to it and keeps the chocolate a bit sort of softer. So I'm going to be melting together 140 grams of dark chocolate. I'm using 50% solid chocolate here. I've also got 60 grams of butter. In you go. And 20 grams of golden syrup, this sticky stuff. If you don't have access to golden syrup, you can use corn syrup or liquid glucose, or even honey or maple syrup, although that will have a slightly different effect. And then finish it off with a pinch of salt. And then you want to put it onto a bain-marie, just to heat really gently, stirring it every now and then until it's all combined. So it's ready, and you want to end up with this lovely, like silky, smooth mixture. And if you wanted to, you could do this in a microwave if you didn't want to do the bain-marie thing. You just need to do it a 30-second burst, just stirring after each burst. And then when it's ready, just pour it directly on, and it should start to sort of set quite quickly, because if your brownie's been in the fridge, it'll be nice and cold. But just tease it into all the edges with a palette knife to make it nice and level. And then you could leave it there, but why would you do that when you could also do it drizzle of milk chocolate just to give it a little bit more pizzazz on the top. Otherwise it's, you know, just brown. Now we get 2 shades of brown. And then last but not least, obviously this is a Millionaire's shortbread brownie. Where is the shortbread, you might ask? Well, it's right there, guys. I baked this while my brownie was cooling down in the fridge, and it's really, really simple. You want to get a bowl and put 75 grams of soft butter and 30 grams of caster sugar, along with half a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And just using a wooden spoon or a spatula, just mix it until it's all combined. Then add 115 grams of plain flour and half a teaspoon of salt, and you'll just keep stirring it until eventually clumps will begin to form. It will look like a sort of shaggy breadcrumb mixture. At this point, you can squeeze it together with your hands and maybe empty it out onto the worktop as well, just to give it a brief knead. You don't want to overwork it, otherwise you'll lose that lovely shortness. Once it's ready, you can roll it out to about 5 millimeters thick or even less, using a floured rolling pin, and then chomp out circles no bigger than 2 inches in diameter. Pop them all onto a lined baking sheet and bake them at 170 degrees C for around 10 minutes until the tops are slightly golden. And then you just want to put that into the fridge to set. It'll take about 20 minutes. And it is ready, guys. Look at this beast. Now, it was in the fridge to set for about half an hour, and as you can see, we've got these beautiful layers of that fudgy brownie, the yummy accidental toffee, whatever it's called, and then the chocolate topping, and then this little button of joy up here. So let's have a go. Oh. That is lush. Excuse me while I chew. I should have taken a smaller mouthful. You've got that fudgy chocolate brownie, which is classic. The texture of the accidental toffee is so nice to bite through. Like it's just got this really soft, almost fudgy texture. I love it, but you'll find it will not budge. Like you will leave that out for the day and it won't go anywhere. And then that lovely, lovely rich ganache on top. And I need to get in there to get some of this. Oh yeah, buttery shortbread. Hit of nostalgia, just for old time's sake. Love it. Well, I hope you enjoy making that. Don't forget, you must tag us. You simply must tag us on Instagram using #CupcakeJemma. We love seeing how you get on with our bakes. And there's a ton of ways you can support the channel. You can subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, just so that you don't miss any of our uploads. We love it when you do that. If you want to go even further, and if you're in a position to, you can always buy merch from CupcakeJemma.com. We've got a variety of lovely, delightful things. Oven gloves, what have we got? Tote bags, all sorts. If you haven't got the book yet, of course you can buy that from us as well directly. It does cost a little bit more money, but you can get a signed copy, and also you get a bookmark in there, which will give you little tokens to use in our Soho shop. You don't get that on the unnameable, massive corporate machines, and they don't need your money, so come to us. Also, if you want to support the channel, you can join our bake club over on Patreon. We'll pop a link down there if you want to join in. You get extra content, behind the scenes stuff, you get downloadable PDFs and loads more. So do that. We really appreciate you when you do that, but we appreciate you regardless. We just appreciate you being here. So thanks so much for joining us. I'm going to just try and work my way through this massive piece of brownie. Oh, hang on, let me know if you've had a mistake that's turned out amazing, because I think that this is the beauty of this recipe, right? I made a mistake and it all worked out for the best. So if something similar has happened to you, let us know in the comments box. We love to hear about it. Right, I think that's it for me. Catch you later. Goodness. Shouldn't be allowed.